I recently watched Batman Ninja and I really didn't like it. Now, I should start off by saying two things. Number one, I actually was excited to see this movie despite the fact that it was a bizarre idea. Number two, even though I found this movie to be somewhat of a train wreck, I actually still recommend you watch it for reasons that I'll reveal to you later. I should probably also mention that I won't be careful with spoilers, so it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to watch this before or after watching the movie. I'm gonna start off with what initially turned me off in the first place, which was the entire art direction. The animation looks off-putting. I've already expressed in the past that I'm not particularly a fan of mixing 2D with CGI, but this movie found a new way of making me hate that combination. If you look at the background imagery, you can tell that it's flat and two-dimensional. It's very rare for the camera to actually rotate as if it's taking place in a three-dimensional setting, which wouldn't be a problem if you were watching a 2D anime since everything would just blend in. But because the characters, the buildings, and other objects subject to animation were three-dimensional, everything just felt unnatural, and what made it feel even more misplaced was how the backgrounds were drawn and painted felt authentically artistic. I mean, just look at the circular line patterns when you look at the sky, and I feel like the art style of the characters didn't match the look of it. They just looked like janky CGI characters with unappealing shades. I feel like the only time the overall art looked fit and actually pretty good was when Batman and Red Hood found the Joker and Harley living a peaceful life with their memories lost. It's one of the few scenes I actually recommend watching it, but I'll get to the other one later. The camera movement looked kinda shitty. There are a lot of moments where the camera would either pan to a certain direction or zoom in or out, but they would do it poorly. In some ways it kinda reminded me of Berserk 2016. The voice acting was pretty competent for the most part. I enjoyed Harley Quinn and the Joker's performances, although I also thought that the dialogue was pretty cheesy at times. There were even a few moments that had almost Batman and Robin levels of cheesy puns. Now, story-wise, this is quite possibly one of the most emotionally uninvesting Batman incarnations I've ever seen. There were no personal and emotional stakes, arc, or character development. All they would do was introduce a plot element and forward the story with no real emotional weight to it, and some of the plot elements they would introduce weren't even really that properly established. I mean, the whole time traveling to past Japan was kind of confusing, and I wish they would just do what Gotham by Gaslight did and readapt these characters in ancient Japan. Also, they pulled off the I orchestrated every single event that led to where we are bullshit. Like, seriously, Grodd, you planned all of this? Though, then again, if it was just a coincidence, I think it would have been worse. Although I'm more pissed off that they didn't explain all of this properly. Even the thing about the Joker hypnotizing himself into losing his memories and that flower being the source of the memory gain, like, I don't know if all of that is based on some truth or ancient myth, but either way, they could have explained it in more details how exactly he pulled that off. There was also a moment where Batman discovered that there's this ninja clan who believe in this prophecy of a bat ninja who will save their village or something like that, and it just felt so anticlimactic. This was meant to play a role in the overall themes of the movie, but every character is devoid of emotional baggage and goals that it just felt like another plot element that's just meant to be there in advance, but doesn't actually, you know, make me feel anything. But for the sake of the movie, I'm gonna pause my negativity and address something I felt this movie executed very well, which was the final battle between Batman and the Joker. I just like how nostalgic it felt seeing the Joker trying to push Batman to his limits and challenging his heroic ideals, all for his amusement, especially his rule on not killing his enemies. And it was also the most intense fight in my opinion. It was close range and down to two characters. The violence added to the excitement, and I love how as the fight went on, the Joker looked more and more psychotic. This is definitely a fight I would recommend seeing. Hell, you can just skip to the end. If you're familiar with the characterization of both Batman and the Joker, then that's all you need. You're really not missing out on anything if you watch the rest of the movie. This is a below average movie and I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. But still, skip to the end and I guess also watch the memory loss scene. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye for now.